to Ivy's bootcamp. So what is the aim of these bootcamps? I'll start with that first. The basic aim of these bootcamps is so that we are able to introduce people to the concept of analytics, and not only introduce everyone to the concept of analytics, but to make sure that you understand that as an analyst and working with a particular tool, what all activities I can do and why do I need this tool. Okay. So like Chanchal had spoken about it, and a lot of people were also telling that what Power BI, main power of Power BI is the visualization. I don't know how many of you have done dashboarding without these tools. Has anyone done that? I saw, Kirti was presenting a lot of beautiful dashboards, but has anybody worked without Power BI or Tableau? Someone has? In Excel, yeah. In Excel. So, depending on what level of dashboarding you've done in Excel, dynamic, and we could use this tool to work the interaction. Now, my voice. One second. How about now? Is it better? Can you all hear me clearly now? Yeah. So I was connected through my phone while I was traveling. So I forgot to switch the internet. So anyway, so my question to you was that what is so different in Power BI and Tableau that we did not get in Excel, and why this interactivity was so important? So where, somebody had asked a question, what's the difference between Python and Power BI? So Python, yes, it's used in the developer roles. It's used for making, softwares, it's used in analytics, it's used in animation. You name the industry, and pretty much everywhere Python is being used. The reason of it is that it is a very simple language. The way it is written, it's very English. Whereas in Power BI and Tableau, it is basically meant for data visualization, which is the descriptive part. Python is predictions. It's more used for prediction. We have a little bit of prediction over here in Power BI, but not as much as powerful and as easy as we can do in Python. Now, the reason is not just the limitation of the rows that you're talking about. The main drawback of Excel was that if I'm not able to have 4-5 charts in front of me and interact with them at the same time, right? Because slices also came in 2000. Slicer came in what, 2000 and I think 13, 16. Before that, even slices were not there. So unless you're not able to interact with multiple charts, you will see you can't really drill down into the data and find a story in your data. So let's start and try to find what is the story behind it. You can't download this data. When you clicked on the link, it took you to the Google Drive. Shumona, did it take you to Google Drive? Yes. And in Google Drive, when you open there should be something called file. And in the file, you will see download as and click on Excel. Like over here, I have a file. In Google Drive also, you will have file. When you click on it, you will have something as download. And when you click on that, the first option is as Excel file. Did you find it? So what are we working on today? So this is a data set. I reduced the data set significantly. This was a data set of about 80 countries, varying years from 1990 to 2019 is what this data set has. And what it also talks about is the number of deaths based on the disease. So you will see they have something called malaria, HIV, tuberculosis, diarrhea, diabetes, poisoning, and so on and so forth. So these are about, how many diseases are we talking about? 21 diseases. 21 diseases. And if I had to, we have downloaded, yes, if the 21 diseases, and if we analyze it against 80 countries, it would have been a mess, a big mess. So what I did, I reduced this data set, and in my case study today, I'm only working with India, China, United Kingdom, United States, and there's a data of the entire world. So this talks about the number of deaths based on the disease. Okay, let's take a, let me ask you guys, what do you think? Which disease is the killer all over the world? Highest killer? Take a wild guess. Which disease do you think is the killer? Cancer, COVID, cancer, COVID. Oh, this is pre-COVID data. Remember that, right? You will never get COVID out of this data set. This is pre-COVID. Cancer. Okay, let me see. Control F. Do we have cancer here? Oh, no. Strange. We don't have cancer in this data set. Probably, yes, cancer would have been there. Malaria. But I don't know if you're able to see, malaria is pretty much zero in developed countries like, United Kingdom and USA. Over there, it doesn't work. Cardio. All right, let's analyze and get the data and a story out of it. So how do we begin? I was sitting and analyzing before you guys were here. So I'll just close this file and open a new Power BI file. I would request everyone to open Power BI desktop. And one thing I like, even if you are taking this as like, just an exploratory session that I want to understand what Power BI is, I'm in healthcare, let me see how I can make it useful for my profile. I would say you will only enjoy these sessions if you do a hands-on work. If you don't do hands-on, it's just somebody telling you stories, which might look interesting or sound interesting for 10 minutes, but after that is like you forget about it. But if you get your hands dirty, as in when I'm teaching or making you understand this tool, that way you are creating a mini project for yourself. Like Kirti is doing, he's creating, mini projects for himself. So you all will be able to do that. Once you get the confidence of working on data, one project that keeps you going on. Okay. So let's start. Can we present this as a project case study? Absolutely, you can. And I've done a lot of case studies, like last month I did NYC taxi case study. Then one of the very popular case studies was Zomato. So there are a lot of case studies that you can pick from Ivy's YouTube channel, and definitely you can put in your resume. So now this is the screen. Your screen and my screen might differ a bit. The reason is left side is going to look the same, but the center looks different. It might ask for a, what do you call, a collaboration and sign in. We actually don't need it. Okay, we don't need the collaboration assign, the sign in at all. We can work on Power BI desktop without that sign in. Now, the question may be, then why a sign in? The sign in is basically used when we have completed our dashboard on the desktop and we want to share it with others. and deploy it, right? When people are able to see my dashboard, my clients are able to see the dashboard, that's the time we need to log in and then we publish our dashboard. So in today's bootcamp, we are not publishing, hence no online is required. You joined where? Where can I find this data set? Can somebody put the link, please? And now, how do we get started? First and foremost, do you think Power BI stores the data? Does Power BI store the data? Thank you, Ronnie. Does Power BI store the data, guys? What do you think? It does? Yes, no? No, it does not store the data. Very good. What it does, it connects to the data. So first and foremost thing, now all these softwares have capability of connecting to a variety of data sets like Chanchal was explaining. So what is the first step? To connect to the data. As soon as you click on get data, the first window that opens up will show you that how many different type of data sets it can connect to. So it can work with Excel, very common. Text and CSV files, very common in our industry. JSON files are very common. Folders are common. And nowadays, we like to work a lot with PDF. Now, we don't have to convert PDF into Excel, clean it up, and then upload it. It tends to pick up the data from the PDF files itself. SQL Server, again, very important aspect of most of the businesses where you have to connect to SQL servers or Access database, or it may be a cloud service like Azure, it may be online services like connecting with things like Data World, or going to a website and grabbing the data, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics. So a variety of things it can connect to. What is the format of our data today?
Excel.
We have Excel, right? So we are going to click on Excel workbook. And then it is going to open the dialog box to go and select where it is. It needs the place, the path. So I'm going to go ahead and select this database. Next thing it is going to do is show me a preview of my data. How does my data look like? So as soon as I connect, this is an Excel workbook. A workbook has one sheet or multiple sheets. Workbook has one sheet. One sheet. Like typically it can have multiple, right? It opens up with one sheet, but I can have multiple in it. So I would have multiple sheets and I can have multiple tables also. Correct? So over here, I have one table. However, if I was working with an Excel workbook, which had multiple sheets in it, multiple tables in it, I would also get an option on the top to select multiples. So if there were 3 sources, I could select all the 3 sources at the same time. Okay, so I've selected this data. What this is doing is giving me a preview of how it is going to look like. So it's got entity, which is essentially a country, the year, the diseases, and the death rates based on the disease. So far, so good. Everybody has reached this part.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me know if anybody is lagging behind. And we can do screen sharing. If anybody got stuck, you don't know where to look for, like I said, we can do screen sharing.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, one question regarding get data.
Sure.
If we fetch the data from SQL Server database, so is it good to import the data or can opt with direct query?
Direct
Connection?
query, always better. And why?
Okay.
But why? You should ask the right question. Why?
Yeah, like actually, as per my knowledge, direct query is better because it gives the live data in SQL Server,
Exactly.
which is data
That's the
engineering
main
things.
reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is why.
See, the basic thing is all these tools, why do you think they became so popular? Again, if you think about Excel, in Excel, we used to get the data, then we used to make things. Now the data changes frequently, and my dashboard went for a toss. That's where we had to introduce VBA coding also. So a lot of, what do you call, a lot of coding was involved over there. So Sunil, what he's talking about is one thing. Let's say my data is kept in a SQL server. So I download, I do the query, right? I write a query, I extract the data, and I store it as an output. I store it in a CSV file, and then I connect it to my Power BI, right? So that is one way of doing it. But then it's a static process. Anytime changes are happening in my data, my dashboards are not getting updated at all. But when you connect through a SQL server, you give your username, password, and then when you pull the data into Power BI, any changes, any additions, any editing in the data that's there, that reflects in your Power BI dashboards also.
Okay.
SQL, Kriti, SQL, I think people don't appreciate that knowledge, but SQL is an engine in Power BI also. The thought process, the knowledge of databases, multiple tables is the engine behind most of the things in analytics that you will ever do. You pick any software, I can, easily fit in SQL concept, database concepts into it. And that happens in Power BI. Without that knowledge, you can't run Tableau, you can't run Power BI. Without that understanding, you will be a very bad analyst. So SQL is a backbone. All right. Now, what we can do is we can either load the data. Load the data means we can start working with it, create charts. But do you think that when we get the data, do you think it's always in a form that I can start working with the data? Do you think
No.
data is already prepped for us and given to us?
No.
Absolutely not. You're not getting the load option. What are you getting? Ruchika, what are you getting?
Hi, ma'am. Actually, I'm not getting any option. It's just cancel option is mentioned.
That's pretty strange. Can you share your screen once?
Yes.
1 second. Let me stop sharing once. And hold on 1 second. Yes, now you can share your screen once, please.
Yes. So, are you able to see my screen?
It's coming up.
Yeah. So,
It's not there yet. Hold on. It's still black for me.
Okay.
I think the internet is slow. It's not coming up at all. Can you stop sharing and try sharing once again? Okay, now it came up. All right. So select the data. You don't have a data that it can load or transform. So you have to click on the checkbox right next to the data on the left side. You see a square box?
Yeah, I did
check
that.
it.
All right. No problem.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good. All right. Now that we've got this data, and I asked the question, do you think it's always in the form we would like it? Absolutely not. So in IV, these are the topics which are very important but not spoken about at a lot of places. So in IV, if you go to our YouTube channel right now, we are doing a whole series on data preparation and data cleaning in Excel. And the same series we will do in Power BI and Tableau and then Python. So that is another set of videos that you should go and look on IV's YouTube channel that will give you a good understanding of what all goes wrong in the data and how do we fix it, right? And tool by tool, we are doing it. So in Power BI, where is that area where we can manipulate our data, filter our data, delete the data, edit the data? That is done in transform data. So once you click on transform data, it will take you to something called Power Query, right? This Power Query is not only Power Query is not only a Power BI feature, it exists in Excel also, by the way. So in Excel also, when you have a larger amount of data, multiple tables, we work in Power Query and Power Pivots and get our data designs out. So let's look at this data. It's got something called entity. First thing I would like to do is rename this column. So how do you rename a column? You can always double click on it and just simply change into country, right?
I was trying to import the data and the system hanged. It is not responding.
Okay, so you might want to wait. You just want to close that application. And one thing you remember, guys, Power BI itself pulls a lot of processing. So any other applications, if you have open in the backend, try to close it. And if your system looks as bad as mine, I'll show you how bad my system is. If your system looks like this, as bad as mine, then your Power BI is also going to be very slow. This is a very bad situation on my system. If I don't clean it up today, tomorrow if I open my Power BI, it might just be one white screen for me. It's so bad. So make
When
sure
it
all
is
these things.
hanged, it is not responding.
So you know how to go to the task manager and just end the program of Power BI and try to open it once again. If he restarts the system, he'll be out of the meeting also. Just try to, shut down the program of Power BI once. Yes, Joshua, you have a question?
Hi, thank you very much. So I'm wondering, is it possible I have a local database, of course, connected to the cloud, right? And I'm saving my outputs file from the database as on a SharePoint on the cloud
Yes.
also.
Yes,
and I
it
also
is.
connect, my dashboard.
Yes,
my
absolutely.
dashboard to the SharePoint. So such that when I update the database locally, it also reflects on the dashboard. How do you suggest I go about it?
See, I do not have a SharePoint environment to show you that. But if you look at the sources, one of these sources is SharePoint also. So basically, if you're doing it in SharePoint on any kind of server, then you just have to make sure that you are giving the SharePoint folders you can connect to. But then you need to have the credentials to connect to it. Once you've connected, then it's almost like connecting to a normal local file on your system, and then the whole process is the same. Does that answer your question, Joshua? All right.
Yes, it
perfect.
does. Thank you.
All right. Now, when you're looking at the data, few things that I would say always keep an eye on. This is a very small data set, so we can go through a lot of rows of data by ourselves. But how do I check the quality of my data? A very simple check is if you see the line underneath each header, what are the colors you're able to see? Do you see one single color or multiple colors?
Single color, ma'am.
Multiple colors. What does a color signify? What is this gray for? So the column which is completely green means the data is completely full. And over here, when I hover on top of it, do you see it shows there are 150 valid and there are 850 empty rows. 85% is empty. Okay. And I'll tell you the reason behind it. Like I said, I did a copy paste job. I was just, filtering, copy pasting a lot of things. And I think at the end, the data with the missing values are there. And it's consistent throughout. Means it's not that one country information is not there and years are there and the disease count is there. It's just at the bottom, it's just picked a big set of empty rows. So how do you get rid of these empty rows? Do you think we should keep it or remove it?
I think we should remove it, ma'am.
Absolutely remove it. How do you remove it? Very simple work. On the top, you have remove rows, right? Once you click on it and you have a choice called remove blank rows. This area that you're working on right now, it's called Power Query. So if I click on blank rows, see, this is what happens when your C drive is so full. Finally, I think it did something. Still working. Why are we removing and not filling them? The reason we are removing and not filling them, so when you do treatment of the data, typically that means that, let's say if I had a column of country, multiple things, okay? Number one, let's say there is a year is missing, okay? Now, if I know there is a pattern in which I have the year and few places year is missing, I can add that value to the null, okay? Let's say the data is missing for the disease. Then I can see, okay, for the 10 years, what's the mean? And I can fill it up, okay? But in this case, it's not just one particular value of a column is missing, the entire row is blank, completely empty row. There is no data for country or the year or for any kind of death count. So in this case, it's better to remove the rows, right? Another thing, let's say if I had a couple of rows where the country name is not given, then do you think I can replace that missing value with some country's name? Do you think that would be a wise idea?
No, ma'am.
Absolutely not. So in our data, when our main tags or the main fields are missing, then we should not even treat them. And we should delete those rows. I know a lot of people feel that, oh, my data set is reducing. This is not the actual data. My analysis will be wrong. But actually, if you fill it with the dummy data over there, or by your assumption, if you're putting a country names, that's actually a bad analysis. So even though if it might result in reduction of the data, it's fine. 85% of the data, like I told you, it's 85, the rows, the way I copy pasted, I am the culprit here, not the data. So let's just move on. The null data is because of me. So next step, what we want to do is, we want to check the data type. What do you mean by data type?
Whether it is text or
Number.
numbers,
Yes.
right?
Whether it's the Power BI is reading my data correctly or not. Because if it is not reading my data correctly, then my analysis get affected very badly. So over here, I have got country as a text. And how do I know it's reading as a text? It shows ABC. Once you click on it, it is a text data type, which is ABC. Year is a number. Ideally, I don't think so I want it as a number because I don't want anyone doing the sum of it or average of it. So I can make it as a text also. Should not be a problem. All right. Then comes the count of each disease. Based on each disease, how many deaths have been there. So that those are numbers. Going to quickly go through them and check. Yes, these are numbers. Right. Now tell me, if I want to analyze this data, what you are going to analyze? You've been with the data too long while I was not there. So what would you like to analyze in this data?
Comparison, we can do that between countries.
Between countries and look at what? This
Disease,
is like 10-year data, 10 years data is there.
Disease which they are suffering from, like which is the highest disease they are suffering, that particular country.
Okay.
Top five we can find of.
Top 5 diseases for various countries. All right. What else? But then if you're doing top 5, which year do you want to concentrate on?
Ma'am, how the death rate has shifted throughout the year.
How the death rate have shifted throughout the years. Exactly. Which countries have the total of deaths of a particular disease? See, okay, now tell me, I know you've not thought about this data in so much depth because you just got the data. In this particular structure of the data, do you think anything that you're saying I would be able to analyze? Can I get the top 5 diseases of, let's say, whatever is the latest year of this data using this data type?
No, ma'am.
No. Why no?
these are just long sets of data where it doesn't have any kind of visualization that we can see and we can come to any kind of conclusion.
Because, you know, all the diseases have individual columns. They all are behaving like individual fields. So if I want to say top 5, I should be able to compare disease 1 with disease 2 and see which number is higher. Correct? And to do that, this structure is not helping me. So
But
the
we can
way
still see the change in death rate of various diseases.
but then you will be able to do it for one disease, right? What we are going to do, once you have checked your data types, you can close and apply. On the top over here under file, close and apply. Close and apply, everyone. Let's go back to our visualization pane. Okay, once we close and apply, and this is my data. So let me explain you the screen. This area is where we create our reports or the dashboard. There are 3 main panels in which we can work. One is filters. So if I want to put filter on a particular visualization or my dashboard or all the pages of my dashboard, I can do from here. This is the main area where we pick and choose a type of graph, and based on that, then we move on to the third panel where I can see all my fields of the data, and all I need to do is drag and drop and my visuals get alive. Now, if I wanted to see, for example, someone says, okay, let's look at the top 5 of a particular country. Which chart would you pick for that? Top 5 of a particular country.
Ma'am, we can use count plot to see which
disease
has higher death rate.
What is a count plot? Type of chart.
From clustered column chart, we can use it.
Clustered column. 21 diseases. Let's not forget that. And okay, one more problem you will face. Let's say I'll go for a clustered column chart, and I put the one of the diseases, let's say diabetes. Okay. So once I click here, it went on the y-axis saying this is the sum of diabetes. Now, if I put countries in the x-axis, since there are only 4 countries, this is coming up like this. So we can see the diabetes is highest. This is world. Should we consider world with the others? Probably not. But yes, the highest problem in diabetes is where?
India.
But now the question was, you didn't want to see this. Your thing was, I want to see a top 5 of a particular country. Can you find the top 5? What will you drop where is my question, to find the top 5 of a country.
Top 5, we can use the filter.
But what would you want to put in a filter?
A name of particular country.
You want to put the name of a particular country.
We will put India or United States.
Okay, let's do this. So what are these guys talking about? These guys who have done a little bit of projects in Power BI. Don't be afraid, guys. You really don't need to have prior knowledge of Power BI to do these work in Power over here in this bootcamp. So let's say this table is there. What is this? This is a clustered column chart. So what is being suggested to me, don't drop the country over here in your x-axis or y-axis, drop it in filter. And I'll pick one by one and get my data. Let's do that. So for that, in order to make a filter on the charts or the graphs that I have in Power BI, the easiest way to work is called slicer. Right? Now, where are slicers? Over here, the second column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th row, second column are slicers. What are slicers? If you've done it in Excel, it's exactly the same thing as Excel. But if you've not introduced yourself with slicers in Excel, it's a kind of interactive filter. So once I drop the slicer over here, now I have to drop the field from which I will create a slicer. So they want me to filter by country. So I can put it over here. And what you will see is I've got the name of all the countries that I had in my data set, which is India, China, United Kingdom, United States, and world. And if I pick India, I'll get one column, United Kingdom, one column, China, one column. Is it helping me? Is this what you wanted?
Not exactly.
Not at all. Say that
Yes,
again.
ma'am. We are only getting it for diabetes.
We're only getting for diabetes. And imagine 21 diseases. Do you want to drag and drop all of them one by one manually? Anybody up for it? Anyone? Good thing, bad thing? No, thank God. So it means what? My data structure is not perfect. This data is not compatible to what I want to do it as in my analysis. So once again, I'm going to go back to my transformation. So how do you go back to your transformation of the Power Query screen? In the Home tab itself, you see the symbol? Everyone is able to see this? Yes, please.
Ma'am, this slicer is same as when we used group by in Python. To group by
I don't know Python, to be honest, so I will not be able to comment on that. I know Excel, Tableau, Power BI, VBA. Ask me question around that. Python, I'm still not familiar with it. Okay. How to get the labels of categorization? We'll talk about it, Rishi. Hold on. It is group by SQL. There is no grouping in Slicer. Slicer is just a filter. You should not compare it to group by. Okay, it is not group by at all. This is simple. Slicer is a filter. It's a filter. That's it. No other definition for it. So we will go back to Power Query. And now what we want is, instead of having the 21 columns for the diseases, ideal situation for analysis would be one column which has name of diseases and one column which has a number against it. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want 21 columns. I want one single column. So how do we do it? This process of converting your column data into one single column or multiple rows is called unpivoting. How do you do unpivoting? First, look at my screen. Once I finish it, then you do it so that you know how to do it easily. We will select the first column. Press the Shift key on your keyboard. We go extreme right because we need to cross 21 columns. And then press the last column. You will see all the 21 has been selected. So once all the columns which you want to combine together are selected, under Transformation tab, there is something called Unpivot Columns. So as soon as I click on Unpivot Columns, it does a beautiful work. It converts all the column headers into one single column and the value that were there below them into the next column. So this is a disease and these are the values. Is it making sense?
The values we have got are the sum of all the meningitis and all the...
No, it is for United Kingdom 1990 meningitis. This is the value.
Ma'am, can you go back so we can see the data again before we have transformed it?
Okay. So Joshua is saying filtering is similar to subsetting a data frame in Python, not the group by. Yeah, group by definitely. I think the universal definition is there, group by. So I'm going to remove this, unpivot. It was like this. All right, Sanjay?
Yes, ma'am.
So selected this and went to the right. And selected this. Oh, I pressed the wrong key. I pressed Control, not Shift. So this, press the Shift key, move towards the right, press the last column, select all, and under Transform, unpivot. Here values are showing total count of all disease. Not all the disease, it's individual disease. Sharbani, is it clear? Sharbani? Okay. And over here, I'm going to rename the column. And this is the value part.
So it is significantly increasing number of rows, but we are getting
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what
Okay,
it
ma'am.
has done,
Yes, ma'am, I
for
understand.
one country, if there were 10 rows for 10 years, now 21 rows have been added for each year. So yes, significantly increases the number of column, but unfortunately, we are not, if we don't structure it this way, we will not be able to do our analysis. Got it?
Yes.
So let me know if everyone has done till this part.
Done, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Asta, Abhijit.
My system was not working, so it is now opening the desktop Power
That's
BI.
okay. This particular video will be there in YouTube right after we finish it. It's a live thing, so it's getting recorded. You can go through the video once again and ask me the question. I'll leave you my LinkedIn profile and my email address, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, move on, guys.
And so we are basically changing the shape of data.
Yes. This is called transformation. When you are restructuring the data or you're adding new columns, moving things around, transposing the data, this is all transformation of the data. All right, let's go back. And now you will see how easy your life has become. So we'll close and apply. What does close and apply do? Why do I always pick close and apply? We made few changes to our tables, to our data. Now we want to reflect that in the front end so that we can analyze our data. So I'm going to close and apply. It's about 2 MB something. And
मैंने बिस्किट इसलिए रखेगी ना, इसको दोपहर में दे दूंगी या सुबह दे दूंगी, ये पता सुबह दोपहर में फिर वो मांगता है। अभी मैंने अमरूद दे दिया इसको पूरा भर के।
Guys, try to mute yourself, keep yourself muted. All right, now what we've done is we have turned, look, column's gone. Now if I put disease and I put the value, now can you see country-wise what's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And somebody wanted top 5. So how do I get my top 5? I am going to drop the value. You see this filter panel? There are 3 types of filters over here. It says on the visual. Visual means one particular graph or a chart. On the page, what does this mean? If I had 4 charts, it will apply filter on all 4 together. And filter on all the pages. So it's not that we create one chart in one sheet, but if we may have multiple pages of our dashboard, so those are called pages. So if I want to put that filter across the pages, then I place it over here. Right now, our concern is to put it on this visual. So I'm going to pick the value. No, what we are trying, top 10 diseases. So we can go to diseases, it's already there. And instead of basic filtering, we have got something called top N. Okay, did you find it? If this is closed, by any chance, if this panel is closed, all you need to do is click on the arrows, expand it, and go to disease, go to basic filtering, and change it to top N. So I can find top N, I can find bottom N, and top, let's say I want to find top 5 diseases. Now top 5 based on what? What should I consider?
The count.
The value, right? So I'll drag the value again by value, and I'll have to click apply filter for it to work. So when I do, I can see cardio is the top one, neoplasm, chronic diseases, digestive diseases, and lower respiratory infections are the top 5 for China. I don't know how many of you have been to China. I certainly went for a lot of years for work over there. And a lot of people wear masks. Much before Corona came in, people wear masks a lot. And I think now we know it. Respiratory disease, lower respiratory chronic, all these diseases are there. Hence, that's a way of avoiding it. If we move to India, cardio, diarrheal, respiratory, neonatal disorders, neoplasms. If you look at United Kingdom, another set.
Cardio is.
Cardio is the highest. United States, cardio wins. And if you look at top 5 in terms of world, then also pretty much the same that we've got in these 4 countries. Can you apply the filtering part? I'm not getting the filtering part. Sure, I will. Out of syllabus work, do we need to learn data warehouse and data lakes for data analyst profile? No, you don't. The data profile, the data ware and data lakes are meant for data engineers, not for us. So how did we put it? Once you click on your visual, you would see the filters. Do you have the filter, Shilpi? This panel of filter? So if I erase everything, if I delete everything, this is the original. I went to the disease. Disease is already as a part of this chart. So I went over here, clicked on top N, put top 5 based on a value and apply filter. Got it? So now you know how to explore this data based on countries, and you can see in each country who is the main reason for the maximum deaths.
Ma'am, can we get our data in this way that we get all the graph in one row for all the countries?
For all the countries?
So you
You can, but the problem is it's almost going to be unreadable. So to give you a understanding, let's say this is a clustered column. And if I, let's say, what do you say? Let's not control Z. Okay, I've already done the blunder. So I'm going, if I drop in this visual, if I drop the country in legends over here, right? I can pick and drop it in legends. This is how it's going to look like. And definitely world should not be there.
Okay.
Okay, world is going to distort our values quite a bit.
So how can we remove it? We will only not select in sum of all.
Yes. So what we would want to do is, again, we are going to work with the country part and pick all except for world.
Okay.
All right. So this one is standing out. India. This is the legends on the top. You can see this is for India. So diarrheal diseases, India is kind of topping the game. China is topping in cardio, followed by India, followed by United States. Neoplasm, again, China, followed by United States and India, and the lowest is in United Kingdom. United Kingdom looks pretty healthy to me when I look at this thing. So this is one type of analysis. Now, another thing that we could have done is what I would really be interested if somebody gives me a 9 or 10 years data like this, what would you really be interested in? Guys, can you please mute? Sorry, I muted everyone. Kindly unmute yourself, whoever was talking.
How the death rate has shifted throughout the year.
Absolutely. Because, we are hearing so much about medical science, so many things are happening. So I would really like to see, cardio might be a killer, but how has the trend been? Are we more healthy now? Are we able to control some diseases now? Or it's still at a, it's still growing up. So what do you think we would get? Over the years, do you think we'll get a graph which shows us a good trend or a bad trend. And before we do that, tell me which graph should I use?
You can use the line chart.
Absolutely correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Line charts are meant to show the trend. You know, when I was asking you the question, my hand was almost, going in a wave to say, okay, did it go up or
Yes,
did
ma'am.
it go down? So it's a trend. So over here, first column, second row, we have a line chart. In this line chart, what do I want in the x-axis is the years. And on the y-axis, I would like to put the diseases. All right. So let's do that. On the x-axis, I would want the years. And on the y-axis, I would like to drop the values actually. Right. So this is showing it's the opposite. It's just rising. The bottom thing is not correct. Right. You see the years are not correct. So I will have to sort that. That is the challenge when you make it a text. Let me do one thing. I'm going to convert it back to a year so that my sorting is correct. So I'm going to pick year. And over here from text, I'll change it to a whole number. You can change the data type over here also. But at least my chart will be in the right direction now. So we can see from here that it has increasing. The deaths are only increasing every year. Now, what would you like to see? I would like to see this based on
individual disease.
Individual disease, but be very careful what you ask for. If I want to put it in individual disease, this is what you're going to get. 21 diseases, remember that.
Ma'am, is this correct data that throughout the year the number of death has been increasing for every disease, or this is an arbitrary data?
No, this is not an arbitrary data. It is taken from I think World Health Organization, and it's not increasing for all. It's just you are not able to see it clearly because there are too many things going on over here, right? So if I want to understand the trend based on country, what should I do? What did we do last time to see the trend country by country?
And
The
slicing.
slicer.
We put slices. So I'm going to put slicer and I'm going to drop the country here. And now you will see that if I click on China, so my focus should be what? Should it be all the diseases now? Probably no. My focus is these three. What are these three? Cardio. Then I have diabetes. Then I have chronic, what is this pink thing? The chronic respiratory diseases. Now for chronic respiratory diseases, do you see an upward trend or do you see it's getting more controlled?
So it's a lower trend for chronic.
Lower, right. So we are seeing the trend is going down, right? But for cardio, it's only going up. For diabetes, it's only going up. And honestly, if you guys, recently I had a family member in which both these diseases was like making his health so complicated that I know how doctors were openly telling that these are the top killers. And he was just using his words. But now when I looked at this data, I'm like, yes, what he was saying made sense. These are the top killers all over the world. And it's all just because of our lifestyle. The lifestyle, I think what people had 20, 30 years back versus what we have, it's not a good lifestyle. So that reflects in our health.
Ma'am, a lot of these lines are overlapping each other, and
yes,
can we have a different, build a different chart for this?
No, whatever chart you use, there are 21 data points. There is no chart which will make it look less complicated. So, what we do as an analyst, as a BI person, business intelligent person, that you need to segregate it out. So what I would do next probably is based on what is going to be my concern. My concern is what is the top one, how are they behaving, how is their trend? So to make this chart a little less complicated, probably we can drop the disease also in the filter and only work with 3 and look at their trend. Make sense? Briganka? You can't analyze 21 things at all. Okay? It's not possible. No chart can support that. Now in India, do you see so many crisscross happening? So cardio went up, definitely. Diabetes, we are controlling it? No, it's going up. What is pink? Again, I forgot. Respiratory disease is going up. But at the same time, diarrheal diseases in which India was topping, it's being controlled, it's going down. The purple one is the liver diseases, it's going down. So now you can see easily in India that there are diseases which have gone down. 2-3 diseases, I can easily see that they've gone down. But yes, the upward trend, the 3 main killers still have an upward trend. Where diabetes was the main killer in second number in China, over here in India, it's at the 3rd number. And let's look at United Kingdom. They look so much better in health, I'm telling you. Right? Obviously, the numbers are going to be pretty less population differences there. But you see how cardio it has reduced quite a bit. And this is also not a very steep slope for diabetes. So again, if you think about it, if I have to compare Indians with people in United Kingdom, I think United Kingdom people work more. The lifestyle is better. Health is better. They run around a little more, they're more physically active, and the eating habits are a little better than us. Indians are, have all the oils and all the possible spices mixed in our food and we eat it. So we can clearly see that. And when you move to United States, another significant trend that it went down. Probably this is the time where obesity was there and then people start realizing about good health. Then we saw downfall, but again, up. What do you guys think? From Toronto,
Yes,
what are your thoughts? What will I find in Canada? Similar thing or not similar to US?
Yeah, probably similar.
Very similar. Because we eat a lot of burgers, there are a lot of fries. So I studied in US, I can understand why this data is like this. So so all these things you can analyze. But did you notice this thing? The major takeaway is that unless you didn't structure the data, you could not find any analysis. You could not find the top 5. You could not find the trends. You could not do anything with the data. So yes, the key is the data has to be in a proper format. It has to be clean. It has to be structured for us to get any kind of insight into it. All right. Any questions for me?
Can you show how we applied slicing in this icon?
Yes. So slicer, think about it as a visualization or a chart. Okay. So this is one chart. Always when you want to make another chart, you want to click outside in the white area. And second column, 5th row is your slicer. So once you click on slicer, now it requires the data. So each chart, when you create, you will see it requires different fields. Like if I drop it over here, if I select this, I need x-axis, I need y-axis, I've got secondary y-axis. But if I'm in slicer, all it does is requires one single field. So in this field, what you want to create slicer of filtering based on country, right? So I can drop a country over here. And we could have done vice versa. We could have plotted the country and then put diseases in slices. You understood? So I could have done disease in slicer. And over here, instead of having so many countries in the legends, I could have country. So what this will help me to do, if I wanted to analyze disease by disease, what's going on. But definitely, in order to be able to analyze visually properly, the first thing I would do is take out world from here, because then it is going to just mess up the, see, now you get a better idea, right? So now if I look at let's say cardio, we can see a huge difference. China, India, USA that was looking so bad is not now looking that bad when we compare to the countries like India and China. Can we do forecasting? Yes, you can. So not all the charts you can, but definitely there is forecasting in the analytics part, and there is trend lines, right? Hold on 1 second. Too many meeting controls come into picture. No, this is not making me do, let's say, trend line. No, this is not. Why it's not taking forecasting? I don't think so. It has enough data points, because this I've made it as number. It might not do forecasting. See, forecasting will typically, it will show forecasting if I had a data type, or a time wise, or a date wise. Since this is like pure number, it is not being able to read it properly. But if I had a date, and from date I used years, then it would have given me a choice of forecasting also. All right. So you can click on any of the disease, and now you can see the difference. India has got way up, diabetes, and look at United Kingdom. Nice. It looks like nice flat line, because as compared to others, it is pretty high. And again, honestly, we should not be comparing India and China with US and UK also on the same graph. Why? Because the population difference is huge. So definitely, because we are more in number, that's why our numbers in case of death is also looking very high.
Ma'am, we can do percentage of that per capita, like something like that.
To equate the populations?
Yeah, to compare, to get a better measurement about the
absolutely. Like in the case of corona cases also, if you see, they don't only talk about the numbers, they talk about numbers per some population amount. So that you can kind of compare that, let's say the 50,000 people died of corona. Now the population is so huge that 50,000 is not saying that dying is a good thing, but it's not a big number versus 50,000 in a lower population. That would be immediate attention requirement. So what you're saying, if you go to the Worldometer, where they give you the coronavirus, updates, over there, you will see they talk about population, and they give you a number based on the population, so that the comparison looks even to us. All right. So I enjoyed my day today in this boot camp, because I think you guys were very energetic. You asked me the right kind of questions. You had the right thought process of looking at the data. Because please remember, this is what something my professor had told me when I was studying in US. He said, it's software is garbage in, garbage out. Till you don't understand the data, till you don't understand the business problem, no tool is a good tool. But as soon as you get your hands understanding of, okay, what am I going to do this with this data? Not just create a pretty dashboard, but create a meaningful dashboard, which will help me to take a further action. The aim should not be just to create a chart, but to create an actionable data dashboard. Then this knowledge becomes useful. All right. Any questions for me? I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. Yes. Can we create word cloud in Power BI? Yes, Rishi. But for the word cloud, what we need is these 3 dots. These 3 dots would be there when you are online. And then there is something called custom visual, get more visuals. And through visuals, there is a lot of interesting Shanky charts, word clouds. What am I typing? Word cloud. So word cloud is there. Yes, definitely. But again, you have to think about, is a word cloud the right kind of visualization for this data? Absolutely not. Like I remember somebody had said a comment in the chat that I get confused in picking up the visualization. Trust me, you're not the only one. Every day I see so many dashboards where I can clearly see that it is not a good. It's not a bad dashboard, but the choice of charts is incorrect. That's the number one thing people don't understand very well. Okay. I am going to share with you guys my LinkedIn profile. And I love getting connected to everyone. And whatever, knowledge sharing, whatever, what do you call? If you want to ask me something about your career, about analytics, probably if I don't know the answer, I'll connect you to the right people in my team and get your answers. So this is my profile. This is my email address. I'm going to put my email address again over here. Feel free to contact me, ask your questions, because the whole purpose of the boot camps at Ivy that we do every month is to make awareness of analytics. Because a lot of you might have heard analytics, data science, but how does a tool work? What does an analyst really do? How to look at the data? Those are few things that you will not get an experience without joining some structured programs. So we thought, why not give a flavor, see if the person gets excited about these concepts or not. And if you feel excited about these concepts, then definitely data science is meant for you. All right, guys. You guys have a good evening and good morning to a few of you. So I'll see you. You have a good day. And I'll see you soon next month with another set of bootcamp. Don't miss tomorrow's bootcamp where we will be working with healthcare data set, but with SQL. And SQL is becoming more and more important. You should attend tomorrow's bootcamp as well.
Ma'am, one last question.
Yes, please.
There is Google data analytics apprenticeship applications going on. If you can briefly describe on that, means how we can prepare for that. I filled the form, but I don't know any preparation things. What the things would be asked and stuff.
I'm not sure what are you talking about?
Ma'am, Google data analytics apprenticeship.
So Google, okay. So one of our student is actually working over there. What it is, it's basically apprenticeship is something like an internship, and they make you work on data, which is Google, or it may be vendors of Google whose data you will be working with. And they kind of train you a little bit based on the process in-house. What is the in-house process? I think how do you prepare for it? It really depends on the JD, to be honest. The job description. Once I have to look at the job description to see which component, where are they giving you, what field they want you to attach yourself to, then only we can comment. See, analytics is becoming such a huge field that there's no one thing that a person specializes in. So let me know, drop an email to me, Roshan. If you want to share your JD with me, share that. I can get you connected to the person who is doing the apprenticeship at Google from Ivy, and probably he can help you a little more.
Should I share my resume? Actually, I am applying for some company. I had some internship experience, but now I'm looking for full-time job related to analytics.
Yes. So you can share let's get connected on, I think let's get connected offline regarding that. Drop me an email, I'll connect with you, and then we can take this conversation forward. All right. There's a question, what is the scope of analytics in Calcutta, India? It's very less. Typically, you will have to step out of your state and look for jobs. And companies are there, but not very huge player. The main focus is still, if I have to talk about India, the main focus is still in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi NCR, Mumbai, Pune. Calcutta has a very small share over here.
Ma'am, how does Power BI and SQL link with artificial intelligence and machine learning? Because this is also part of data visualization that we do in ML.
So, see, the thing is, when you have a business case study and you have a data set, there are few steps that we always follow. Like whether you're going to use Power BI or you'll be using machine learning concept or you're using R, it doesn't matter. We will always clean and prep the data. Always. We always visualize the data because that gives us understanding of how our health of the data is. Okay, that we always try to do. And over here in Power BI also, we have this component in view. Where is it? Oh, not here. It's in your Power Query. In view, we have something called column distribution, column profile. This helps us to understand our data a little better. So we always will make visualizations like this in other tools also, get an understanding of our data, look for outliers, look for, okay, if I have to do mean, median, mode, what is the best way to go forward? And then you depend, if you're doing descriptive analytics and dashboarding, we stay in Power BI, Tableau, Excel. But if we want to do prediction, then we go to Python. And again, depending on what business problem you're trying to solve, we pick up a technique. So machine learning is not a tool, it's just a bunch of techniques that are there. So it will depend on the business problem that you have. Joshua, definitely connect with me. Let's talk about it. All right.
Ma'am, I don't know SQL, so would I be able to understand tomorrow's session?
Yes, you will be, because all these boot camps are created for people who have no understanding of analytics, and we want to expose them to the concept. So definitely you will be able to understand it. Don't worry about
No,
that.
I've mailed you.
All right, Roshan, I'll look into it. All right, guys, I have a hard stop. I have a training for one of my US clients starting at 7:30. So I need to stop this bootcamp right now. See you guys tomorrow. There's a different trainer who specializes in SQL. I know SQL, but that's not my specialization. So we like to teach what we specialize in. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good day. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.